For more, let's bring in Alex Traiman, now CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of the Jewish News Syndicate, and award-winning documentary filmmaker as well. As always, Alex, thanks for being here. Is this it? What happens next?
Well, we don't know if it's it yet. We don't know if this is the only attack that Israel will take in retaliation for not just the strike of 300 ballistic missiles and drones that they sent Saturday night, but really 6 months of relentless attacks from all of its proxies, including Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And we also don't know if Iran will respond. We don't know what the sentiments inside Iran will be after this attack, whether the Iranian regime feels that they are appeased, that the damage wasn't so bad and they don't need to save face, or whether the damage is bad and they feel like they have no choice but to reestablish themselves as the strongest source in the region.
How about the timing of all of this? Shabbat this evening, the Sabbath. What do you make of that and the significance of it?
I don't think there's any specific significance with regards to the Sabbath. I think that there may have been an attempt by Israel to get something done before the Passover holiday starts. I think Israelis would love to have their week-long festival go undisturbed this time. Remember, we have two week-long festivals. The last one was the holiday of Sukkot, and on the last day of that holiday, Simchat Torah, is when Hamas crossed the border and attacked, killing 1,200, and Israelis hoping that this Passover week-long festival can go about quietly.
Yeah, Passover beginning on Monday. There also is some word out of Syria. What are you hearing the latest out of that part of the region?
Well, this is definitely a multi-front war. It's a regional war, and just last night, as Israel was hitting Iran, also hitting sites inside Syria, which is where Israel struck against the Iranian generals in Damascus last week. Also, Israel hitting inside Lebanon. Also, Israel hitting inside Gaza hard with 25 strikes there as well. So Israel is very active on all fronts right now, and definitely on high alert that any of these fronts could explode at any moment.
Multiple fronts, and then you've got Gaza and the intended attack on Rafah. What is the impact of all of this on that situation, and how soon might we see some action?
Well, they're on the one hand connected. On the other hand, these two fronts are being conducted separately. Israel does seem intent on beginning the process of moving the civilians out of Rafah ahead of a planned invasion of that city. We saw sites this past 24, 48 hours of Gazans on the beach in central Gaza, a place they hadn't had access to. And perhaps this will be one of the sites that the citizens that are now holed up in Rafah will be able to move towards to the north of that city ahead of a planned invasion. I think it will take probably at least a week, if not longer, to move the residents out, to make sure that all of the infrastructures are set up to allow whatever humanitarian aid the United States and others want to get there before Israel will attack Rafah militarily.
So $26 billion in aid specifically to Israel on the table as Congress debates it later today, looking for passage of that. How would it be used once that military aid arrives?
Well, you know, Israel's been very careful with the use of their armaments, trying to be as precision as possible. And they've gone through a lot of these armaments, both from the defensive, the replenishing the Iron Dome and the other military defense systems, and also ammunition and other things that they're using. But it could take years for the supply of these ammunitions to come through. But I think Israelis are satisfied that the United States remains committed to Israel's security, and specifically that Israel should maintain a qualitative military edge over its enemies in the region.
While all this is happening, Alex, we cannot lose sight of the hostages and the plight from the families to continue to keep that as part of the focus. Any update on negotiations around the hostages and potential ceasefires?
I think there's a sense in Israel that as the days continue to go along, that the chances of really getting back many of the hostages alive is waning. We got word just over a week ago that it reports that Hamas couldn't even prepare a list of 40 live hostages that they would be willing to exchange in a ceasefire deal. So unfortunately, I think Israelis are starting to get the idea that they may not get these hostages back. And in many ways, that will allow it to conduct its war in order to take out the leadership of Hamas, remove it from power, both as a military and a political entity, without having to consider the fate of all of the hostages.
Yeah, a difficult reality to digest. Anything else that you all are following? What are your sources telling you about what the next 24 hours may bring?
Again, it's hard to know what will be in the next 24 hours, but the feeling here in Israel that really this war has entered into a phase two. Phase one was specifically coming from Gaza and limited attacks from Hezbollah, but clearly the stakes have been raised in the past week, and the feeling here that even if the tensions might calm temporarily, that we are now involved in the second phase of the war, which could expand into southern Lebanon, could expand into Syria and Iraq, places where Iran has been very active. And we may very well see repeated attacks back and forth between Iran and Israel directly themselves.
Yeah, still a very tense situation. Joining us live from Jerusalem, Alex Traiman, as always, thank you.
Thank you so much, Marni.
Right now, former President